Am I the asshole? I told my fiancé I would not take care of an English bulldog if we got one. My fiancé has always been around bulldogs, they were his childhood pets and naturally, he absolutely loves them. Some of his close family members are part of the National Kennel Club, show them in dog shows and breed them. All registered with proper health testing etc. and very much not backyard breeders. In the event we would own a bulldog, we would likely receive a top-of-the-line, bred dog with a championship-winning bloodline. I am not a huge dog person to begin with, but I especially am not a fan of this breed. I don't like them for a variety of reasons which I'll list below, but my main protest is that due to our work situation, I would be responsible for 90% of its care. I am 100% prepared to take care of and love a family pet, however I've made it clear that I do not want a bulldog and I'm not willing to provide the extensive level of daily care they require. To provide background as to why I don't want a bulldog. I don't think they are an ethical dog breed. I don't support their breeding, I don't want to contribute to that market nor do I want to own such a controversial breed. The extensive health issues and potential for super high vet bills. He argues that their breathing is perfectly healthy, however I strongly disagree. We also plan to move to a hot climate within 5-10 years which isn't really compatible with a bulldog due to their heat sensitivity. High maintenance daily cleaning of their skin folds, ears, and tail would be my responsibility and honestly I'm just not down for that. They're not an active dog. I want a dog I can take hiking or on adventures, not a dog that can't handle a 45-minute walk. I'm not a fan of their personalities. Their hair is so coarse it makes me itchy all over, irritates my nose and eyes, and it sticks to absolutely everything. The snoring and snarling noises. I'm a light sleeper. The reason I'm posting is because my fiancé and I frequently disagree on this topic. Today I told him that with him working away, long hours while I'm at home all the time, it wouldn't be fair to me or the dog for us to own one because I'm not willing to provide such extensive daily care. I understand and respect that he loves this breed but I genuinely don't want the burden of responsibility shoved onto me just so he can own the dog breed he had as a kid. I feel like I could be the asshole since I'm pretty much telling him I wouldn't take care of an innocent animal and that's obviously not right. However I also feel like I might not be the asshole because this RN is all hypothetical since we don't own one and I'm just trying to convey the point that we shouldn't own one. Too long did not read. My fiancé wants a bulldog because he's always had them and I don't want one because I'd be solely responsible for it when I don't like them, don't want one, and don't want to deal with the upkeep they require. Not the asshole. You're saying, I don't want a bulldog because comprehensive list of reasons. He's saying, I want a bulldog because bulldog. You should win this one even if you weren't doing all the work. Not the asshole. I am 100% prepared to take care of and love a family pet. Sure, a regular maintenance pet. That's not dogs. Dogs are chores on legs. Perhaps some nice fish? A lovely cat? Not the asshole. Not just for the reasons you list as to why this is a problematic breed, but because couples need to be on the same page when it comes to pets and there absolutely are lots of other options out there. You're not saying you don't want any dog at all. You're open to a variety of them. He's only open to one type, which isn't a reasonable position. Today I told him that with him working away, long hours while I'm at home all the time, it wouldn't be fair to me or the dog for us to own one because I'm not willing to provide such extensive daily care. This right here is the end of the conversation, kind of animal or breed be damned. He's not home, so no. Case closed. He wants the dog, get a new job, preferably a work-from-home job. Not the asshole. I suggest you volunteer for a cat rescue. Foster then adopt the best cat once you meet them. Very biased because I was a dog person without time to commit to properly care for a dog. I felt that cats were alright, so the perfect pet to foster because I wouldn't cry when they were adopted. This worked for over 15 cats. Then I met my angel cat. The best cat in the world. She passed away last week and I loved every moment WTH her. She was a calm dog in a cat's body. Friendly and cuddly and full of love. Not the asshole. Your fiancé is presumably not 6 years old. If he wants this dog, then he needs to be available and actually do the extensive care necessary for this purebred expensive dog, not just want it and expect you to take care of it. Maybe when he's no longer away so much and can actually take care of the dog he wants, like a grown-up, he could consider it again. You cannot get a dog and expect someone else to take care of it unless, again, you are a very small child. Am I the asshole for insisting my daughter should be allowed to go on the guys-only family trip? I have 2 kids, John, who is 13, and Kelsey, who is 11. My daughter, Kelsey, has always been a tomboy and prefers hanging out with her older brother and my husband. She goes fishing and plays sports with them. Meanwhile, I enjoy gardening and baking. No biggie to me. I love their bond and am happy she's close with her brother and dad. My husband's only sister is a single mom and has recently moved to our state with her son, Michael, who is 12. My husband has been talking about planning a guys trip this summer with him, John, and Michael. While my husband was discussing with John, I could see Kelsey looking visibly sad because she wasn't included. Later, I told my husband that Kelsey should go too and that there's no reason to exclude her. He said he just wants some guy time with his son and nephew, and that men need to have their time away from women. I took offense to that comment, which led to an argument between us. I told him that Kelsey needs to go, otherwise I won't approve of money being taken out of our family vacation budget to exclude some of our family. My sister-in-law texted me saying I'm being controlling and ruining a good experience for the boys by being petty. I told her I'm not being petty, I just don't want my kid feeling left out. Am I the asshole? Info. Does your husband sometimes do things with Kelsey without John? He can organize a father-daughter trip then as well. Even better, you send your daughter to his sister, for some girl time. Nothing will piss her off more than having to sacrifice her holiday to babysit. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I was also a tomboy and my family would do this all the time growing up. Boys trips fishing, skiing, camping, hiking etc. and girls trips with crafts, tea, dinner, manicures, shopping etc. They would do this every year and it was always frustrating watching the boys go do activities I enjoyed while being left out and being stuck indoors doing activities I did not enjoy at all. If your husband goes on this boys trip, he should also go on a trip with just your daughter so she can have the same experiences as your son. You are the asshole. Why can't your son have some quality time with his dad without his sister there? Why does she have to be there? Because she's a tomboy or because favoritism? Do you know how this looks to your son or do you not care? You threatening to now let it happen unless your daughter goes is only showing his sister matters and he doesn't. If you don't want your daughter feeling left out, then do something with her. Your husband isn't the only parent here who can do boyish things. Jesus Christ, she'd probably appreciate that you're trying to take interest in her hobbies and interest. Don't be surprised if you keep this up, your son will start resenting you. Not the asshole basically because of the time away from women comment. It's weird to throw that into a conversation about his 11-year-old daughter, especially, it seems, this one. But I will suggest, let them go and take the time to bond with your daughter, even if you have different interests. I don't mean try a girly day out, but find something you'll both like. Because you have this in common that might transcend your interest. Attitudes from men on the lines of needing time away from women. You're so on her team from how you reacted to this. You can't control your husband, though family money is a conversation, but there are other ways you can show her this. You are the asshole. It is okay for the guys to go on a trip. It is okay for you to take a trip with your daughter. It is okay for your daughter to take a trip with her dad and you to take a trip with your son. All aspects of individual bonding time are okay. Both of your kids don't need to be included in every trip or outing. Maybe try meeting your children halfway and being interested in their interests instead of deciding that they need to only bond with dad because you can't be bothered with anything else. Am I the asshole for telling my mom that I will never trust her with future relationships? I, 26M, told my mom, 67F, about a year ago that I could not trust her when it came to any future relationships. My mom and I had been talking about a trip where I had met a woman. My mom then asked if there were any plans for her to visit so she could meet her. I decided to be upfront and told her I wasn't sure if I would introduce anyone to her. When she asked why, I told her that due to how she had treated my last partner I did not feel I could trust her with any future partners. She went to her room in tears. I've gone on many dates since then and never mentioned any of them to my mom. She thinks I haven't dated anyone for the last 4 years. In reality, she is simply the only one I don't tell. I do tell my dad and sisters, asking they do not share with mom. Now for some context on my mom's behavior in that long-term relationship. I dated Amy, fake name, for 6+ half a year. My mom was great in the first year, showing interest in Amy and trying to bond with her. After that first year, Amy was kicked out of her family's house and my dad let her move into my room without charging us anything. Mom and dad lived separately. Amy lived in my room for about 8 months until she moved out. The whole time, my mom complained about everything Amy did or did not do. At first, she only complained to me, but then moved on to complaining to Amy herself. The complaining became such an issue that Amy and I decided she was better off getting her own place, where I soon joined after. After moving out, my mom found other things to complain about. She blamed Amy for us moving out and also being the reason we were barely able to afford renting a place. She started making comments about how Amy was gaining weight to our faces, we both were due only affording cheap food, called her a druggie to me when she overheard my sister and Amy talking about weed, and a faker when she got injured in an accident and couldn't work. Eventually it escalated to the point where, due to my mom's disrespect, I told her to stay away from Amy, and here is the worst incident. Amy joined me to help Dad unload some furniture. We were surprised to find my mom also there. At one point, I left Amy with my mom for about 30 seconds to help my dad. When I came back, my mom had an oddly large grin on her face while Amy was silent. After we left, Amy burst into tears. She told me she couldn't tell me what my mom had said to her as she didn't want to ruin the relationship between my mom and I. Half a decade later, I still do not know what was said. Amy was not perfect, but my mom had crossed the line multiple times. We tried to talk to my mom about respecting Amy and even went no contact with her due to her behavior. Problem is that my mom is in the early stages of dementia. She retains most of her memory, but many of the situations I've mentioned she claims didn't happen. This makes holding her accountable a problem. Am I the asshole? Narcissists always forget what they did and said. It has nothing to do with dementia. Not the asshole. Good strategy, keep on with it. If you can't hold her accountable, preventing her from doing harm is your only option. Early stage dementia does not mean she cannot remember all the things she said to Amy. You have made a wise decision. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your mom doesn't think she did anything wrong to Amy and has probably been looking forward to a new victim for years. But now she's gone into victim mode because you've dashed her hopes. The dementia will definitely make things worse, so protect any future partners and keep mom far away from them. Question op: is she like super weird and close with you? Like comments on your body or forced you to be physically close with you? Or weirdly controlling? Has she ever made you leave time with your partner to do something for her? Or made a scene out of something small to get your attention? Not the asshole. I hope Amy is doing better now. But you really should have cut your mom off way before it got to that point. Sorry, but your mom is toxic and dementia or not. It's not an excuse for being an awful person. Seems like she can't stand not having control over you and loves to play mind games to drive off your partners. Carry on as you are. It's a consequence of her own actions, which were pure evil. Am I the asshole for making food for everyone but my younger sister? I, F16, have a younger sister, F11, with a very strong personality. She often speaks without thinking, which causes us to bump heads. She said that I smell, that my breath stinks, that I'm a goody two shoes, and other stuff that really hurts my feelings. Often when called out she just says, "It just slipped out," or, "I didn't mean it like that." She gets upset when asked to do things she doesn't want to do and rolls her eyes, mumbles under her breath, or ignores people to voice her displeasure. I've asked her a question or spoken to her and gotten completely ignored until my mother tells her to respond. Or I'll ask her to do something for me, like put my clothes in with hers, and she'll refuse. Obviously she doesn't have to do this, but if she's doing it anyway and I've done the same for her, it would be nice, you know? What gets me the most, though, is that she's the first one to ask for someone to do something for her, buy her something, or give her something. But she always behaves like having to do anything for anyone else is the worst inconvenience in the history of ever. Don't get me wrong, I've tried calmly explaining why it's hurtful over text and in person. I've yelled and argued, but she's always got a laundry list of excuses. I said, "I can't win with you," and she said, "So why do you keep trying if you know you aren't going to win?" in this really snarky tone. I've told my mom, too, but she just said that you can't force people to change, which is valid, but I don't think it's fair for me to be disrespected because that's just how she is. Today, I was making breakfast for myself. There are babies in the house, not my siblings, but we're staying with a family friend until we can find our own place. So our host asked me to make them some too. I did, and my sister said, "I want some. Can you make me some?" I told her no, but that she had 2 working legs and was more than welcome to make some herself. My mom said that I'd better make everyone some food while I'm making some for myself, and I said I'm more than happy to make anyone food that wants some, but I'm not making any for my sister because I don't do things for people that disrespect me. She rolled her eyes at me and was clearly very upset that I didn't make her any food, but I ignored her and made everyone else's plate and sat down to eat mine. She kept glaring at me while I was cooking, and now I'm wondering if I was a little too harsh on her and shouldn't have excluded her like that. So, am I the asshole for making everyone food but my younger sister? Edit: because I feel it's important. She doesn't just disrespect me. She rarely listens to my mother and kinda just does whatever she wants to do. It's well known that she's hard-headed. Edit 2. My mom agreed with me not making anything for her. After I told her I wasn't doing things for disrespectful people, she nodded and said, "That's valid." Not the asshole, your sister is 11, and she doesn't have an excuse to act like a brat toward you. Especially if you have done things for her in the past. She obviously doesn't understand right from wrong, and I guess that's understandable because she's a child, but still. I think your parents should have taught her better. While it would have been mature of you to make her breakfast, I can see why you didn't. Not the asshole. My mom said that I'd better make everyone some food while I'm making some for myself. No thanks, but feel free to step up and act like a parent and do it yourself. Completely ignore your feral sister until she comes around, if ever. If your mom complains you are ignoring feral sister, then you tell your mom that she refuses to teach feral daughter that there are repercussions to behaving so poorly, and that is her choice, but you will for sure be teaching feral sister that there are repercussions to behaving poorly with you. And tell your mom she is right and that you can't force people to change, but you for sure can force yourself to change, and this is the change in your behavior. You will not invest any time or energy into sister or anyone else who treats you poorly. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, she's just like that, is a good excuse for raising a child with no discipline. That attitude will get her nowhere in life. I see no reason for being helpful to her when she is everything but helpful to you. Not the asshole. There should be consequences to your sister's sense of entitlement and disrespect shown to you and your mother. It seems that you're the only one willing to enact them. Man, your little sister's in her annoying little shit phase, which will not last forever, just the next 10 years or so. Jokes aside, not the asshole, because while she's just a kid, she has to learn how to behave and mind her manners. It's your parents' job to teach her those, though.